But before we go, we're going to give our candidates a last opportunity for 2 minutes of your attention, whereby they will try and browbeat you into voting for each and every one of them. I'm afraid the rules say you can only vote for one. Okay, so please listen carefully.
I think it's very simple. It's about, elections are about a choice. They're about a choice between candidates locally. They're about a choice for a government nationally. From my point of view, I hope, although I have not had the privilege to represent Cottenham and Rampton over these last years, I hope you will give me that privilege in the future, and I hope people you talk to across South Cambridgeshire will say that I've discharged that privilege well for them in the past. I think we can be ambitious here in Cambridgeshire about what we can achieve, and especially so with a government which gives us much more control over the decisions that affect us, and when we, for example, we have planning and development that comes here, which clearly it will, that those resources stay with us and we're able to reinvest them. And on issues like where housing should be built, where travellers should be established, that we make those decisions and we don't have this top-down system of government. But it's also about national policy. And I think you've asked about, for example, issues of the economy and debt and so on, and we do have to tackle those, but it's not just an age of austerity. It actually, I think, can be an age of ambition, but especially so as we stop the government spending more money than we earn, we start to think new thoughts about how we can be a bigger and stronger society. How as a society we can take more responsibility ourselves and ally the power of and resources of government to communities and families who are strengthened in delivering so many of those major social objectives which matter to all of us, whether it's public health, dealing with crime, promoting families, strengthening society, improving education, making our young people stronger and healthier and happier for the future. All of those things we can achieve. We can't expect government to tell us how to do it. We can't expect government to do it all for us. We, I think, can make that choice and start to take that responsibility ourselves. That's why our manifesto says it's an invitation to you to join in the government of Britain.
May I start by asking you, if you wish to make a protest vote, that you actually make it for the Liberal Democrats. Simon is quite right. Actually, this is an incredibly important election. And the reason it is so important is that after all we've seen over the last period of time, this is an opportunity for this country to completely change the political system, and actually one step further on from that, not just change it, but actually mend the political system that is so clearly broken. 10 million people voted for the X Factor final. They paid to vote for that. It is outrageous that we have such appalling turnouts, and I'm afraid we are all responsible. We are all responsible. So please, I urge you, of course, vote. I urge you to vote for me, but most of all, I urge you to vote. When I was canvassing in Melbourne, somebody said, well, Mr. Lansley is an expert on the NHS. What are you an expert on? My response, South Cambridgeshire. This is where I have been working for you already for 11 years. This is where I live. This is where I want to continue working for you. It is a huge honour, a huge privilege, and I have to tell you, enormous fun as well. So I have energy that I can take to Westminster, and I have South Cambridgeshire that I hope I can take to Westminster too. Thank you.
Well, I'm the underdog here tonight. I think that there are people on this panel here tonight who would make excellent MPs for you. And I'm convinced that whoever you vote for, it's likely to be one of the three main parties. You'll get good representation in Parliament, and that's the important thing. When you're thinking about Labour Party's record, I think it's important to look at it dispassionately. Take away all the media stuff, take away all the stuff about personality, all the stuff about style, all the guff around the TV debates and who looks nicest and who's the most fanciable and all of that. Get rid of all of that. Think about the substance of the person that you want to be Prime Minister. Now, whatever faults and whatever deficiencies Gordon Brown has, one thing he is a man of conviction, he's a man of passion, and he's a man who can take difficult decisions when they're needed, even if they're unpopular. Now, I don't want to go into detail about what would have happened had we not bailed out the banks, but it's important to recognise that he was a person that led the world on that. Now, you may not agree with that, but you can go to any other country in the world and they will tell you that they took the lead from Gordon Brown to rescue the economy, not just in Britain, but globally as well. And he was recognised for that. This manifesto is full of detail about the future. It gives aspirations and it gives policies and it gives objectives for making our country even better than when we found it in 1997. Remember then that our public services were almost collapsing. The NHS was literally at death's door, and we've resurrected it. We brought it to where it is today now, such that there is a consensus across the political spectrum that the NHS is something to be proud of. It should be publicly funded. It should be available on the basis of ability, on the basis of clinical need, without reference to the ability to pay. Think about those substantial achievements and whether or not you want a substantial person as Prime Minister. Thank you.